Yo, what's good? Welcome back to Gridiron podcast. As always, I'm your host JB. Joining me, Devontae Forever. What's going on, bro?
What up, bro? What's up with you?
I'm good, man. Good, man. Everything good. Football. I feel like despite some upsets and stuff, and trust me, you're gonna get into all of it. I feel like it's gotten a lot better. Like the quality of games is getting better. Um, yeah, man. I feel like a lot of teams in the league right now is like dead even, as weird as it sounds. You know what I mean? But how you feeling, man? Steelers obviously had a bye week, so obviously no action there. But let's get into it, man. What's your thoughts on NFL Week 6?
I thought it was very actually. I disagree. I thought it was hella sloppy. I watched a lot of sloppy play, a lot of ugly ass games. I watched a lot of ugly ass games. No team only team that kind of looked like them was the Dolphins. Really, this week the Dolphins look like them, and the line Detroit look like them. But like me, you've been telling people about Detroit for like the last 6 weeks, so like that wasn't a surprise. Definitely sloppy. Like there's a lot of like the Niners had a lot of injuries. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts threw some of the ugliest picks I've seen in a minute. The Dallas that was actually a really good effort by Dallas, but like we always said about the Chargers, it was a choke artist versus a choke artist. So let's see who wins. So, well, with that being said, there was definitely a lot of questionable play calls that we're going to talk about this week. So I would say maybe it's not just like sloppy by the NFL players, but I think it was sloppy by the officiating all week, and I think it was sloppy by coaching as well.
Okay. Yeah. Like so, when I say it's getting better, I mean like I feel like there's not as many like. How do I put it? Like, you know how in the preseason, you watch that first preseason game, players come out and they look like they're not ready to play, right? It seems like they're like how it feels in that first game where you're like, oh, okay, here we go. We've been through camp, we've been through everything. I felt like in the NFL with the lack of preseason, that has extended like 2-3 weeks, right? I feel like now we're in it till like, yeah, there's some sloppy games. Niners, Brock Purdy just dropped the ball at the snap. So there's still sloppy play, but it feels like we're starting to see like good football, even though game to game it may be sloppy, but I feel like the whole league as a whole is not sloppy right now. Shout out to James Salvinsky for checking out the show. But yeah, man, let's get right into it, man.
Let's work.
Let's go. Kicking this off, man. Obviously, last night we had a game. Cowboys defeated the Chargers 20-17. Some improvement from Dak Prescott, obviously coming off the 49er game. I'm just going to be honest. I think it's probably the best game he's played all year so far. Over these, and granted, I know they won 3 of those games, but and of course, last night makes number 4. So before I even get into what's your takeaways, man, I also want you to add on what's going on with the Chargers, man. Because like you watch them play, and you're like, bro, they got talent all over the place. Offense, defense, special teams. Their return game is good. They got good punters. The kickers ain't too bad. You know what I mean? Like it's like what the hell is going on with the Chargers? So take it away, man. What's your thoughts on the game, and obviously, what do you think is going on with the Chargers?
I think so. I think pound for pound, this is my favorite game I've seen the Dallas offense look. This is probably my favorite, one of the better performances by the Cowboys because they went into a hostile territory. And I think that first drive the Cowboys had was the best Dak Prescott's looked all year, period, point blank. That first drive was, I don't think you could really ask for something better, but I think that's the reason why we always tell people he's just okay. He's not trash. He's not dirt of the league. He's just all right. So, and he showed the upside that like everybody believed in. You talk about the Chargers, on the other hand, Brandon Staley is the problem. Like his defenses are absolute hot garbage. You see every year they're overpaid. They get paid all this money and don't show up at all, especially in big moments. Some people like Joey Bosa. I am not one of those people. I think Joey Bosa is highly overrated. Like I truly think he is one of the most overrated. I think the separation between Nick and Joey is light years apart. Like light years. I think Nick is like light years better than Joey. But
same.
Khalil Mack is kind of out of his prime. He's older now. He had a lot of injuries in the beginning. He's older now, so he's not as effective. We saw what happened with J.C. Jackson. Derwin James, overrated. So, like, they got a lot of players, but they got a lot of big-name players, but they don't have a lot of productive players. And I just think that, like, the Chargers are just Do I think Brandon Staley and them are wasting Herbert's prime? Yes.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So the game itself, I thought Dallas played well. Obviously, I think this is a game they needed to have to keep pace. And not only in the NFC East, obviously with Philly, we'll get into them in a second, but also the NFC as a whole, right? Luckily, certain teams like the Saints took a loss again, so now they're 3-3, so they're a game behind even Dallas. The 49ers also lost again. We'll get to them in a second as well. But it kind of feels like now we're at this point where a lot of teams are starting to either pull away, but it seems like this year everything is like getting closer. You know what I mean? So it's like every win is going to count. Like last year, they lost to the Cardinals, and even if they lost to the Chargers, and they probably only get the wild card regardless, right? This year, I'm not so sure no more. You know what I mean? I feel like both conferences right now is like airtight. The Chargers, I agree with everything you said about Brandon Staley. I completely agree with everything you said about Joey Bosa. The dude, it's like if he's not literally putting the quarterback on the ground, he's doing nothing else. You know what I mean? Doesn't play the he don't even chase down from the backside like he used to. You know what I mean? Like we see TJ Watt, Max Crosby, Micah Parsons do it. He doesn't do that anymore. And Khalil Mack, that's my dog. He's my favorite player in the league. But at the same time, like you said, he is starting to slow down. I know technically he's one of the sack leaders in the NFL or close to it because obviously he had 6 against the Raiders and he had 1 last night. But at the same time, the Chargers, man, like they have to be the biggest disappointment in the league right now. Just because talent is there. Just certain teams that we talk about. Steelers, the offensive line don't quite have the talent. You know what I mean? Raiders, you can make the case the defensive line, besides Max Crosby, don't have the talent. Chargers got everything, every level. Yeah, like, and the fact that they are sitting 3rd in the AFC West behind the Raiders is actually crazy right now. But yeah, man. So let's just jump right into the next game, man. Obviously, let's go to the Sunday night game. The Bills defeated the Giants 14-9. Very sloppy game from the Bills, including Josh Allen, who literally the Bills they practically didn't even score until the 4th quarter, I believe it was the 4th
I think
quarter.
so.
Giants played a hell of a game defensively, still had some penalties. There was a horrible botch by Tyrod and Dayball, however you want to view that, at the end of the first half, where they could have at least got a field goal, but they handed the ball off for 9 seconds, couldn't get the next play called to spike the ball. And then, obviously went to halftime. And as you see, it paid off. They, instead of having to go for the touchdown at the end, they ended up losing by, you know what I mean? They ended up losing by 5 points. So I'll start with you, Devontae. What's your takeaway from the game? Obviously, Daniel Jones did not play. Tyrod Taylor stepped in. This is definitely a game Giants should have won. What's your thoughts on it?
I think it's definitely all right. So I can approach it from 2 sides. So when you look at the Buffalo Bills side, I kind of think the offense kind of just like it looks weird and out of characteristic, but I feel like Josh Allen had this problem with Stephon Diggs about targets. He said, "You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna just target you all the game."
Right.
And obviously we saw how they had a scoring rep, but I think Stephon Diggs had like 10 receptions or something like that. But like you see, and they only won 14-9. You wouldn't expect him to have a guy like that to have 11 receptions and you only 2 touchdowns are the only thing to score. Absolutely. So like I feel like they kind of like tried to settle an offense and getting him targets, and I think that's why the Bills struggled that much. The Giants, I actually thought played a very sound game defensively. I thought they played really good defensively to hold a team like the Buffalo Bills to 14 points. The offense, honestly, is going to get Dayball in trouble. I think the offense definitely going to get Dayball in trouble because, but it's also, I think it's a general manager issue, too, because, even though Tyrod Taylor is serviceable, he's not your week in the week out starter, but he's serviceable. And what that mean, and what I truly mean by that is 24 for 36, 200 yards. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Throwing to who?
Right.
Throwing to who? Right. And I think, and they were still making it happen, getting in the red zone and stuff like that. And the fact that they got into the red zone at the end of the game, and yes, I am one of those people. It was definitely pass interference at the end of the game. 100% pass. It was one blatant blast. You threw a jump pass to Darren Waller for the game on the line.
Right.
Word. Stuff like that is why they're the New York Giants.
Look, man, I completely agree. Look, definitely pass interference. I'll give the ref at least. I'll give the ref standing by the goalpost a little grace because the way he grabbed them, Waller's back was turned, and Waller was able to get the arms up. So obviously, how would he have seen it? But like you said, the line judge could have seen it. Well, both of them could have seen it. The official could have seen it. The back judge could have seen it. So I get it. And Waller, you know how I feel about Waller. All the talent in the world. But it's like sometimes he want to be a rapper making rap videos. Sometimes he doesn't know what he want to be. You know what I mean? But hell of a player. The Bills, man, these injuries, they look like it's affecting them. You know what I mean? Greg Russo came back. He played very well. Milano's probably gone for the year. We know for a fact White's gone for the year. But at the same time, it's like, here we go again, right? The Bills looked like damn near unbeatable. And then the injuries came, and now we don't know, right? Josh Allen and the crew, the offense, they couldn't get points on the board. This is the second week in a row. They started out very slow. Now we said London, the trip from London, right? So that explains the Jacksonville game. But now here we are. They're back home and they did the same thing. And now next week we're going to see when they go to New England, which is it's in terms of how far the NFL teams travel, it ain't that far from Buffalo. It's not a quick trip, but based on how you know what I mean, it's not like they're going to London again right now, at least. So we'll see how that goes next week. But the Giants. They got something. It's like right now they can't get it together. Right, Jones left. The receivers play well. When Jones is there, Barkley runs well. It's like they can't put it together. They had a hell of a game from the defense, man. It wasn't just the Bills played sloppy. The Giants played a hell of a game defensively. They stripped the ball from Gabe Davis. They had a pick. They got pressure on Josh Allen. They did a hell of a job defensively, and of course, this one hurts. Of all the ones they lost and they got blown out and this and that. Fine, but this one I know it rocked that organization.
Sure.
Shout out to Josh Sheen for checking out the show as well. All right, we're gonna speed through the show. It's not a long show today. But next up, 49ers and Eagles both lost their first game. Both dropped to 5-1. Here we are, Devontae, week 6. There are no undefeated teams left. I believe last week we got to what? Was it last year we got to I think it was 7-0, 8-0. A few years ago, we saw Steelers go 11-0. But here we are. End of week 6, no unbeaten teams left. Obviously, 49ers lost to backup quarterback in PJ Washington with the Browns. We know the Browns' defense is really good, but nonetheless, they missed a field goal to lose the game. On the other side, Philly played the Jets. Zach Wilson played a decent game, got off to a bad start, played a decent game. We know the Jets' defense is really good as well, but no Sauce Walker. I said Sauce Walker, wow.
Sauce Gardner, that's a rapper. Sauce Walker's a rapper. Sauce Gardner.
Yo, I was just checking out his album. No Sauce Gardner. That can't happen. Jalen Hurts to 3 picks. All right, Devontae, what teams need to worry about that loss more? It's only one loss for both of them. Both are still leading their division, of course, but which of these teams need to worry more?
Philly, because Philly's offense hasn't played like it's supposed to all year. They won the ugly, rough, tough games where they needed a score, but they haven't played well really at all.
Right.
And you can just tell, I don't know if it's a timing issue. The only thing they've done decently well is run the ball when they need to. They definitely just have really weird timing issues with the receivers and stuff like that, which is very rare and random because it's the same damn people. So I'm it's the same as receiving core. The only person who's different on the entire offense really is DeAndre Swift. So I don't understand, but I know they have injuries definitely in the secondary, which is going to get them cooked. Yep. Which is going to exhaust and tire out your defensive line because they're just getting rid of the ball quicker. And I know that Hurts has to play better for sure. Obviously, Hurts has to play better because he threw some horrible picks. Pick at the end of the game, he way overthrew that. He was just overthrowing stuff. Then there was a play where I think Dallas Goedert was sitting in that ran a curl route, and there was he was split in between two defenders. Why would he even dare try to stare that down, try to fit it in there? I don't know. And it got snatched. So I think the Eagles just have a lot of problems more than just their injuries. They have to get their timing right. And without Lane Johnson, who got hurt last week, who's like literally hasn't given up a sack in like 3 years or something like that, it ain't looking too pretty.
Yeah, so I'm going to say the Niners, and it's not because I think right now, I do think Niners, when healthy, are the better football team. But for me, that question has come down to when healthy, right? And here we go again. Christian McCaffrey's out. We don't know for how long. He could be out. He could even play next game, but we know there's an injury there, right? Here we go again with Deebo Samuel, who's a monster on the field. But with the Niners, it's always about, can they stay healthy? You know what I mean? They play such a physical style of football. It's always going to be the question of, can they stay healthy, and for how long can they stay healthy? That's my only worry with San Fran. And it's like, here we go again. And I believe next week they got the Vikings on Monday night. Now, obviously, I'm not saying the Vikings should beat them, but we know the Vikings are a tough team that like to hang in games when they should. They lost just like last year. They won a lot of close games. This year so far, they lost a lot of close games, and you need guys like McCaffrey and stuff. I feel like when McCaffrey's not there and Deebo, who also can run the ball out the backfield, Purdy didn't look quite as good. And I know part of it's because of the rain, but he didn't look quite as good yesterday when he had to play from behind. You know what I mean? And that's all I wanted to see from him. Because when he has the lead, he's damn near unbeatable, them and that team. But yesterday, when he had to throw the ball more, play from behind, those slant routes he's usually pinpoint with, he was not yesterday. So it could be the rain. That's why I want to see if these teams could start to jump a lead on the Niners. I want to see how they play from behind, because it's very rare that you see a team that leads every game all year long. You know what I mean?
But the Vikings don't got Justin Jefferson, so like that's
good point.
That's Clint. Is they like, I don't know about that one. Like,
well, the week after that, they got Cincinnati. So like
we talking Kirk in prime time without Justin Jefferson. Yeah, nah, I'm still going with the Niners.
What about Cincinnati the week after that?
Bro, the way Joe Burrow played in that first half was dirt. Like Joe Burrow been scaring me too. Honestly, Jay, at that point, you can flip a coin. I don't know.
I think if I'm the Niners, you need to get ready for these two games, because they probably saw Watson wasn't playing, right? And they kind of took the Browns lightly, even though we know the defense is there. So I'm curious to see how they go. As for Philly, this next Sunday night was a game I picked them to lose anyway. They got Miami come into town. It could be a revenge game for Philly, but I thought that was a game they could lose anyway. But let's get to the comment. Reggie said Eagles should have been lost a game. Overrated. They definitely got off to a slow start. They definitely played a lot of sloppy close games and won. Probably one of the worst 5-0 starts I've seen. I know Devontae might be thinking of that Steeler team that went 11-0 when he basically called them frauds the entire time. I do remember that. But yeah, man, I'm very curious to see how this plays out, to be completely honest with both these teams. Definitely will have some more losses, but James Salvinsky was good, bro. He said Miami's going to lose that game. Hate to say it, that's my team. I don't know, man. I think right now Philly, now if they come to play, I can see it being a game. But right now, this Miami offense is hard to hold down, man. It's hard to hold down, and I think the Miami defense is slowly getting better. You know what I mean? I think they're slowly getting better. Philly, I know they just brought in Julio Jones. I don't think he'll play for this next game. I think they're going to try to ease him in, save him more for the playoffs. I know Quez Watkins got hurt as well. Yeah. But yeah, man, I think Miami, right now it's the speed. The speed of Miami is killing teams, and their defense is getting better and better. What's your thoughts on that game, Devontae? Let's look forward to that Miami-Philly game.
Because of the injuries, I'm gonna go Miami, especially when you got all these injuries in the secondary and you got to guard Tyreek Hill. And they got Mostert and all that, where they run out wide outside runs. And like Hassan Reddick is a great pass rusher, but he's not the greatest run stopper I've seen. So like, I just think they're gonna just gonna really spread the Eagles out and then just kill them on the edges.
I completely agree. Miami right now is a track team. They get one step on you, they gone.
Like God.
All right, let's jump to the next game. Devontae, right now in the league, it's probably the most 3-3 teams I've seen in a long time. We've also I put out a post that said I feel like every team in the league by proxy right now is 3-3. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
you might be 4-2, or you might be whatever. You might be 5-1. But I feel like I've never seen a season where the teams feel so close right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the Jets, the Bengals, Colts, Raiders, Texans, Commanders, Rams, Saints, Falcons, all sitting at 3-3 right now. Which of these 3-3 teams do you think can and still will make the playoffs?
Bengals will make the playoffs. The Rams will make the playoffs. Give me and the way they're playing right now, give me the Texans. I'm gonna definitely rock with the Bengals for sure because Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. Even though they have not, that offense has not really been connecting at all.
Right.
Why, like they haven't been running the ball, I don't know.
Right.
I think like they just got a lot of problems right now, but the defense has been playing a lot better. But I do think the Bengals are a team that can get it together at any time. And like once they start to click, I think it's not going to stop clicking for them. So I definitely can see the Bengals getting into the playoffs for sure. The Rams, I just think that like they're going to be like they're one of the very few teams that throw the ball actually really well in the NFC. They're one of the very few. There's a lot of running teams in the NFC,
Yes.
and they're one of the very few teams that's toss the rock.
Yep.
And I think like they're just going to be one of those wild card teams that you don't want to see because of having to deal with Cooper Kupp, who is a absolute headache. I'm sweating because I got to talk about Cooper Kupp because we played the Rams in LA.
Rams, yep.
I'm terrified of this guy. I am terrified of Cooper Kupp. And then you got the new guy like Puka or whatever his name is. Like he's nice. Getting off. Like now nice. He getting off. Like nice. so like the Rams just got like really like they got really two really good outside weapons, and Aaron Donald's still Aaron Donald. Let's not fool nobody.
He had a stack on Josh Dobbs that looked vicious.
Yeah, like
that looked vicious.
Absolutely. And then now
throw the flag on that.
You know the league. And now you got and honestly, you look at the Texans, pound for pound, you go through these 6-7 weeks. CJ Stroud is a top 5 quarterback. The way he's been playing, he's and his stats. Oh my God, he's been picking apart teams.
Look, the way he playing right now, CJ Stroud and Jared Goff might be the 2 best QBs in the league right now,
bro.
The way they
elite presence, elite pocket presence, and the way like you could tell CJ Stroud is just out there just reading defenses and just picking you apart.
Absolutely.
He's making all the right throws and all the easy reads right now, and honestly, he's playing better than Trevor Lawrence. And the Colts don't got Anthony Richardson no more because of a shoulder injury, so he's pretty much done for the year. So I don't see why the Texans can't sneak away with that division. Because I think that's why I picked the Texans because I think they can still win their division.
Yeah, look, if I had to pick one, which I'm going to pick a few, but if I had to pick one out of these teams, the first team I'd pick would be the Saints. I know they just lost to the Texans, and that loss kind of shocked me, to be honest. I watched that whole game. One, Stroud is amazing. And I don't even care about the arm and his stats. I'm talking about the way he's seeing the game. You know what I mean?
Yes,
the way he's seeing the game is phenomenal. He's checking the ball down. CJ Stroud, as for a rookie, he looks poised as hell. You know what I mean? Shout out to him. But I am starting to see the
Ohio State.
I am starting to see the Saints throw the ball down the field more, which I know Derek Carr has he hurt his shoulder, so I am glad to see that he's apparently healing because he's starting to throw the ball downfield more. I picked the Saints only because, again, it's partially because I think the defense is really good, but also I don't quite trust Tampa. I don't trust the Falcons. You know what I mean? And then we know Carolina right now, obviously, is still at the bottom. But I think by proxy, though, I still think by proxy they'll win the division. So I'd have to pick them. But I've also expect big things from the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to go on a run. I actually think they're going to win. I know they got to bye, but I know after that, I think they're going to beat San Fran. And then boom, at least right at that point, right there, they're 4-3. Now the season looks a little different. You know what I mean? And they got a tough as hell schedule ahead. But I think if they can get on the ball rolling and beat San Fran, take care of some of the division games they have to play, and then Buffalo, KC, they play both of them. Pick one. You got to beat one of them if we're talking about the playoffs. I think they're good. I do agree with you on the Texans, which is something I wouldn't have said in the beginning of the year, but shout out to D'Amico Ryans. What he's doing right now in Houston is insane. They can get a wild card. They're live to win the division. And I'm gonna say this, Devontae, you're not gonna want to hear this. I'm liking what I see from the Jets, man. I'm liking what I see from the Jets. Look, first of all, I'll give you your props. Brees Hall is a monster. That he needs the ball at least
He's
25
different.
times a game. I don't care if Rodgers is there or not. He needs the ball at least 25 times a game.
They need to trade Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, that guy's a monster. And Zach Wilson, I like what that Daniel Hackett is starting to do with him. And yes, he has the arm. He's accurate. So we are going to throw downfield. But we're not just going to throw downfield for the sake of throwing downfield. We're not just going to run the ball first down, second down, on a third, make him throw. He gets sacked or throw a pick. They're throwing the ball on first down. Hell, they're throwing the ball on second down, but they're still giving Brees Hall his touches. You know what I mean? I'm not saying the Jets are going to win the division. I'm not saying they're going to Super Bowl. But I think looking at their schedule ahead, there's games they can win. Like I know Vegas right now is better than what I thought they'd be, to be honest. But the Jets could beat Vegas. You know what I mean? They still got a game against New England to play. I think they'll beat the Patriots the second time around. The Buffalo game's a little dicey. I know Buffalo, that's going to be a revenge game for Buffalo. Still got some games with Dolphins. I think that they'll probably lose both of those. But there's games that they can win. I can see them getting to 8-9 wins. And I think that might be enough in the wild card. It might not be, but it might be enough to get a wild card spot because the AFC is not quite as good as we thought it was. Because some of these teams are losing games they probably shouldn't be losing, for being completely honest. Yeah, the Rams. Look, that one shocked. And I got to give credit to Pops because in the beginning of the first episode we did this year, he said the Rams would make the playoffs. And we was kind of like, I don't know. But this Puka dude, like, yo,
bro, he's nice. Like, I'm like, why is he this nice? Like,
right. And Cooper Kupp, his route running is insane, bro. Their route running is insane. And I've heard this little potential rumor that the Rams might trade a second or third round pick for Hunter Renfrow because the Raiders aren't using him. And they, as you know, they practice with the Raiders, so they know what he can do. So I probably would think Hunter Renfrow would probably end up going to the Rams by the end of the year, which I think is perfect for him in that slot. So I think right now, I think the Rams are they got a good shot. All right, the next thing, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I was just saying I agree.
The next thing we're gonna talk about real quick is the Jets and Raiders, man. Both of them, we kind of thought the season's going down the toilet. I thought the Raiders, I watched all their games so far, and I am a little more impressed than what I thought they'd be, to be honest. And the Jets, I'm more impressed than what I thought they were. But out of these two teams, Devontae, both sits at 3-3, both got off to horrible starts. Vegas next games, they got the Bears with possibly no Justin Fields. I think the week after that, they got the Giants. And they do play each other. Jets have a tougher schedule, but actually, who has a better shot at making a wild card if you had to pick one between the Raiders and the Jets?
If I had to pick one, I guess I'm going to have to go with the Jets because they have the better defense. They have the more sound defense.
Right.
I guess I got to go with the Jets, but like, I think Jimmy is a little bit better than Zach at making decisions. I think. Oh God, like this is a terrible question. I think like if I have to pick, I'm gonna go with the Jets just because the rushing attack is lethal. And honestly, I think when you look at the Raiders, I think Josh McDaniels has no idea what the hell he's doing. Like, how do you got the rushing champion Josh Jacobs last year and y'all can't like he ain't doing nothing. Like Josh Jacobs really ain't doing that much at all. And you got the rushing champion last year. You have Hunter Renfrow. You don't throw him the ball at all. Like, did he do something wrong? You're not scheming him right because, like, you know, Hunter Renfrow is your slant slide guy. He's your curl out. He's your drag across the field. Y'all got him running. At all. y'all giving him deep post and deep post and flag routes. So I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all doing? Like. Yeah, y'all literally just go, all right, we scheme for Devontae Adams and do nothing else. Right. And I think that's biting y'all in the butt.
Yo, man, I will say this. If I had to pick one, to be honest, I'm gonna go with the Jets only because, like you said, the defense and the fact that Josh McDaniels, like you said, I agree with you 100%. He doesn't know what he's doing here. So far, so much. So here's how much they were beat. They had a 3-point lead over New England, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, as we know, if you know by now, he got hurt his back, goes to the hospital. Brian Hoyer, obviously 15-year veteran, comes in and been in that system probably longer than he's been in any other system. So he comes in, first play, he hits Trey Tucker, the rookie, on a deep post route. Next play, he hits Devontae Adams for like a 15-yard gain. Raiders in the red zone now. Josh McDaniel had to call timeout. And they literally there's audio of him telling Brian Hoyer, he told Brian Hoyer, stop throwing deep. Josh Jacobs gets the ball, and guess what? Because they're throwing deep now they can run the ball well, right? All of a sudden, now they can run the ball. And he told Brian Hoyer, stop throwing deep, throw short. That's all I need to see. I do think they'll beat the Bears, whether the field's players or not. And like I was telling Dad, this is my problem. The Raiders are going to end up winning 7 games, 8 games, and they're going to be like, well, it's improvement. You know what I mean? They won 6, and he's going to keep his job because of the schedule. But I think the Jets defense is there, and I think Zach Wilson, if he can get to okay, I think the Jets have a really good shot to make the wild card. I do not believe in the Chargers. The South is better than what I thought, so maybe 2 teams. And I think the North, they still have to play each other. Hell, there's some teams in the North who didn't even play each other yet. So I think that's going to be a problem in terms of trying to squeak teams into the North. You know what I mean? I don't think 3 teams are going to come out the North. I think 1 team is going to come out the West, and that's the Chiefs. So now that opens up. You know what I mean? Obviously, we know Miami or Buffalo will have one of those spots, and then I think you might be able to get 2 wild card teams out of the East. But we'll see, because the Browns just beat the Niners, so we'll see.
No, we won't. I know we won't. The Browns are going to the damn playoffs.
I'm not saying the Browns are going. I'm just saying.
I was about to say. I was like, hey, yo. I was like, slow that down.
I'm just saying. All right. Next thing. Patriots and Broncos both fall to 1-5. New England, worst start in a very long time. And the Broncos, look, man. Who looks worse right now? Coach Belichick or Coach Payton?
Coach Payton, because Coach Payton had all this time off. He was talking all that crap. He was talking all that crap before week 1. And you getting cooked like this. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all whatsoever. So I think if you're asking me on this season, it looks worse. And honestly, Bill Belichick, I mean, this just looks like you don't have a good eye for talent. Which he doesn't right now. Right. In the way the league is transcending and the way the league is going, he doesn't have that eye for talent anymore. This is not 2008. 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, where it's like you can't have these no-name dudes at wide receiver and try and just think they're gonna eat. It don't work that way. If you don't got a dog at wide receiver, you can't just run the ball and play action pass. Nobody believes it and nobody will care. So I think for me right now, but as somebody who's supposed to throw the ball, who's supposed to be a guru and an offensive guru and Sean Payton, which is the reason why they got him, he was supposed to revive Russell Wilson's career, is just not working. It's just just not working. So like I'm gonna go with Sean Payton because he's the biggest letdown. Because remember, I'm gonna double down on that because last time I checked, you had them going to the playoffs in week 1. And I remember telling you you lost your mind. So I definitely got to double down on the Broncos.
Oh. So I agree with you. I got to go to Broncos. First off, look. The defense fell apart. I know Vance Joseph is probably out of a job, maybe even because look, somebody got to be the scapegoat. They're paying Sean Payton a lot of money. It ain't gonna be him. They're paying Russ a lot of money. It ain't gonna be him. It's gonna be Vance Joseph. He's gone. But Sean Payton, I agree with everything you said. He has the Patriots. I'll get to them first. Belichick needs to give up the GM role. Even when Brady was there, the talent they had, it was never up to par. It was never up to par. I know Deion Branch won the MVP 1 year. Edelman, I think, got the other one, or he came close to getting the other one. Yeah. It wasn't there. They had Randy Moss. They had a washed-up Ocho Cinco. They had Edelman, he was good. We know what happened with Hernandez and Gronk. Those are the 4 on the offensive side that they had. I know they had Corey Dillon. I know they had Deion Lewis.
Danny Woodhead,
and all these guys. But look, man, that's more Brady. No disrespect to those guys, but that's Tom Brady right there. Absolutely. Chris Hogan went off one year against the Steelers in a championship game. You know what I mean? Like
James White.
Look, man, that's Brady. Verheen, like that. That's Brady. And look, Belichick, it's time. Either give up the GM role or give up both jobs. Because I do think he can coach well. I know right now the defense ain't looking much better, but
They
I
don't got
think
Matt Judon.
right. I think they can coach. I think he can coach very well. I think next year the Patriots will be better if they can get talent, and by getting talent, he needs to go out and hire a new GM. They need to go out and hire a new GM because right now the talent it's a talent disparity. You know what I mean? That's the problem. It's a talent disparity. Now the Broncos. Sean Payton had all this to say. I agree with everything you said. Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett, the worst coaching job ever. He had a much better record than Sean Payton has right now. Russ, stop kissing babies. Stop doing this and that. Bro, what are you doing? Sean Payton right now is horrible. He's horrible right now. He's not a good coach right now. I don't care what he did with the Saints. That's in the past. He's horrible right now. I have no idea what he's doing there. And the fact that he last year, and I know guys, they have retired, they go on the media, they go on NBC, ESPN, Fox, FS1, and they want to, just their job to talk about people. But if you go back and look at these clips, he was going over the top. Devontae, he was taking shots at this player, this coach, and now he's back in the league, and he's not quite the guru we thought he was. You know what I mean? And it's not looking good for Sean Payton. Russ actually is playing better this year than he has last year, and they're still losing. If you look at Russ's numbers right now, his
not that
numbers,
bad.
yeah, they're not that bad. They're not that bad, and the fact that they still can't buy a win, and that's for me, that's all on Sean Payton. Let's get to these comments real quick. Bob said, the Bengals are not done, but window is closing. If Zach Wilson don't lose the game with that defense, the Jets have a chance. Saints look good. Tampa Bay won't go far with Baker. Rams are somehow very sneaky and dangerous. Raiders have a chance will be stopped by poor coaching. I agree with that. Bengals, the time is now. Saints, I think, will win by default. I don't believe in Baker. Rams are very good. And the Raiders, obviously, Josh McDaniels is there, so they ain't going nowhere. Mary, appreciate the stars. She also said, can't even say go Pats. They suck this year. Karma for dominating for so long. Look, ain't nobody gonna feel bad for you, the rest of New England. Because y'all had your thumb, foot, everything on the league forever for 20 years. So ain't nobody feeling bad. But yeah, they definitely gotta give up the GM role to somebody else so they can start to bring in talent. Pops also said, agree with Devontae. Sean Payton looks worse. He has no clue. But is Russell the cause of Denver's demise? And he will be blamed for it. Pats was only a good okay team last year. Then the real team showed up this year. I think if he only coached, they will contend next year. I don't know about contend for the Patriots, but I will say
no.
I really hope that the blame does not fall on Russ. I know it's a quarterback league, so it probably will. I kind of agree with that. They probably will blame Russ. But look, man, we got to stop thinking all these coaches are good. You know what I mean? Like, Sean Payton did have Drew Brees for practically that entire run there. You know what I mean? He had a good defense. He has always had good defensive coordinators. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, do we know for a fact he's a good coach? I do think Bill Belichick is a good coach. But, I mean, do we just know if Sean Payton is or not? Like, we've seen what Mike Tomlin has done without talent, you know? I think now we're starting to see what some of these other coaches can do without talent. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, do we really know? Because Andy Reid for a while, they had years where receivers didn't even catch touchdowns, and they still made it to wild cards. You know, so I don't know. All right, Devontae, let's get back into it. The last thing we're talking about this for this week, Tyreek Hill's on pace again for 2,000 yards. Scratch that. He's on pace for 2,300 receiving yards. Halfway mark through the season. I don't know if you want to call it week 8, Devontae, week 9, because obviously it's 17. But look, man, by the time more than likely, unless he does not play these next 2 games, by the time we get to the halfway mark of the season, he would have already caught for 1,000 yards. Is Tyreek the best weapon in the league right now?
Because you used the word specifically weapon, yes. Definitely, I would say yes, because you used the word weapon where it's like he's at your disposal. And because he's also your tool that you can use in a multitude of ways. You can use him to run where it's like if they're pressing man coverage, he'll run right by you. Or he has the power of automatically getting you every third down on on a comeback route because he's so fast.
Right.
He will force you to run as fast as you possibly can, cut, chop his feet, turn around, boom, he's wide open. And he also can dominate you in the screen game because he can definitely make you miss and accelerate up the field like no other. Right. So I would say, definitely I'm not mad at you using the word weapon, because when you use the word weapon, yes, because then more importantly, he makes because you're so scared of his speed, everybody else has one-on-ones. And when they got Jalen Waddle out there.
Is he the best non-quarterback offensive player in the league?
Non-quarterback offensive player
because
in the league,
a lot of times, like for example, messing around with Reek, Tua might win MVP. You see what I'm saying? I don't think he'd win if Type was not there. So I know we give it to the QB most likely. That's what I'm saying. You take away the quarterbacks, is he the best offensive player in the league?
It's a yes, because of like what he's doing right now, but you also got to throw McCaffrey up there too. McCaffrey is the Niners offense. Like he really is the Niners offense.
That's a good one.
I think you are right on. And obviously, if his injury is minor and plays this week, you never know. He might have 2 touchdowns this week. We don't even notice. Right. So like I think those two right now are definitely at the top of the league.
That's a good one. For me, let me tell you something, man. And I know a lot of folks, they think I would take a shot at him because he was on the Chiefs. You know, I hate the Chiefs, right? But like, no, man, I've always said it, and you can attest. Tyreek Hill's special. Like he's special. Yeah. Like he's not a track star playing football. He's a football player with track speed. It's a difference. You know what I mean? We see so many guys who come in the league year after year. Oh, he won 4.2, 4.2 years. Yo, Tyreek Hill's the fastest football player I've ever seen in my eyes. I've seen track speed, straight line. Okay, Chris Johnson, straight line. He might even beat Reek in a race in his prime, straight line speed. But with the ball in his arm, all across the field, Tyreek Hill's the fastest. He caught for 1,700 yards last year, and he missed 4 games. 1,700 yards, 4 games. He missed 4. He would have probably got to 2. I think it's safe to say he probably would have got to 2,000 yards. Yeah. And the fact that right now he has 6 touchdowns so far receiving. It's week 6. How do you defend this guy? I don't know. I know the Bucs obviously did when they beat him in the Super Bowl, but this dude's special, Devontae. Right now, if you look at the stats, and I know some people who vote for the Hall of Fame is going to take a shot. Okay, he had Patrick Mahomes, and I know he had that off the field incident with his son. Tyreek might be looking at a gold jacket. He might be looking at a gold. He got the ring.
He got a gold jacket already.
He got the ring. His stats are up there with some of the best receivers of all time. If you look at it,
he got a gold jacket.
He put together 2,000 receiving yards, and ain't no way you getting that without at least 10, 12 touchdowns. At least he's already at 6. So let's say if he gets 6 more over the next 10 games, 10, 11 games, we're looking at over 2,000 yards receiving, 10, 12 touchdowns. If he doesn't get hurt, Devontae, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
I think he's already in the Hall of Fame, if you ask me.
I would say that, but if somebody said not yet, I'd be like, okay. I agree with you, though. I do think he's a Hall of Famer already. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen Henry Ruggs. He might have been able to beat Reek in a straight line foot race, right? But the dude, man, the route running is there. He can catch the ball. He can break tackles. You know what I mean? Like.
I can think player. There's 7. I think there's 7 to 10 dudes already in the NFL right now who are bona fide Hall of Famers the day they retire. I think there's 7 or 10 dudes right now who are easily walking in the Hall of Fame, and 3 of them are Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill.
I agree with that. I agree with.
They all walk into the Hall of Fame.
Right. I agree with all that. Let's get to the comments. Pop said Tyreek is the most unstoppable force in the league. He finds ways to get open and doesn't drop the ball. And his possessions are big gains, clutch catches, and or touchdowns. That's a good question, Devontae. Can he win the MVP? So let's say he gets those 2. Right now, if you extrapolate out his stats to the end of the year, he'd be somewhere between 2,000 to 2,300 yards, somewhere around 15, 16 touchdowns. I know we got Patrick Mahomes and all these quarterbacks. Can he win the MVP if he had those numbers, or will it go to a quarterback?
He should, but it will go to a quarterback because the NFL is incredibly biased.
So instead,
like,
he'll win Offensive Player of the Year, probably.
Absolutely, because you think about it, like they could throw a 2-yard screen to him. He take it 75 yards. Tua gets credit for the 75 yards. True. He did nothing in those 75 yards. He did not throw the ball 75 yards. He threw the ball 2 yards and got it, but that hits his stats. So I think the more successful Tyreek is, more successful Tua is, and guess what? We're gonna say? Tua's MVP. When in reality,
you're saying, okay, I see what you're saying. So if Reek
goes hand in hand.
So if Reek has 2,000 receiving yards, 15 touchdowns, that means Tua probably going to have around
4,000 or 4,000 to 40.
It's 30 to 40 touchdowns.
So and they're going to give it to Yes. Okay. Absolutely. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. Do I think if you got those receiver stats, should he win the MVP? You're damn right I do. But do I know the NFL is incredibly biased? Excuse me, not even NFL. Do I know all football is incredibly biased for quarterbacks? Yes. So absolutely. I'm going to
look at it, man. Look, most guys who win the Defensive Player of the Year now is edge rushers. You know what I mean? So or guys who sack the quarterback. It all revolves around a quarterback. I agree. I think he should win MVP. I think right now, no disrespect to Jared Goff, no disrespect to McCaffrey, no disrespect to CJ Stroud. I think right now Tyreek Hill's the best player in the league right now. But again, we know how they treat the quarterbacks. It's special and all, shout out to Tyreek Hill. Dude's a monster.
I think you know best. You look at 2018, 2019, and probably 2020. Aaron Donald was the best player walking on the field. Well, walking on the planet. Nobody was better than Aaron Donald, pound for pound. Not a soul. Did he ever win MVP? No. That's what I mean.
I've seen TJ Watt have 21 and a half
22 and a half sacks. Come on, bro.
Sorry, 22 and a half sacks. He won Defensive Player of the Year, but didn't win MVP. I completely agree.
He wasn't even a finalist. What you mean?
I completely get it. But that's all we got for this week's show. Next week we'll be back to recap week 7. We got some games coming up. We got Thursday night. We got Jacksonville at the Saints. Obviously, it's a big game for both. Jacksonville's been on a little run right now. They are back top of the South. Saints are trying to get to the top of the South. They can get there with a win this week. What do you got, Devontae? Jacksonville or the Saints?
Jacksonville, because Jacksonville needs the Saints can still win their division because Tampa Bay is kind of weak, and then the division's type weak. Jacksonville needs every game to stay away from the Texans because the Texans whooped them the first time. So they gotta do what they gotta keep their head above water.
Lawrence might not play with a knee sprain, so I assume you'll go Saints if he does not play.
Absolutely.
Same here. I think the Saints will actually win anyway, because even if he does play, I think he's not going to be as mobile. So I think there goes a scramble. I'm going to pick the Saints to win this game. The second primetime game we got is Sunday night, Miami at Philly. I believe we both pick Miami to win that game. Yep. And then Monday night, I know where you're going already. We got the 49ers at the Vikings.
Are we kidding? It's for the 49ers by 20. I would normally, I ain't gonna hold you. Normally, if Justin Jefferson was playing, I would say it was gonna be like 24-17. But because it's Kirk in prime time without Justin Jefferson, I got the Niners by 25.
I want to pick the Vikings side. Look, I'm going with the Niners too. If I'm being honest, I'm going with the Niners as well. But that's only because, and I mean only because it's the Vikings. I think the Niners are going to play a sloppy game again. I could see it being like 21-17 or something. Because Kirk, technically, he's throwing the ball. He's got
throwing incredibly well.
I think he's second in passing yards right now. If I was the Vikings, if he's not your quarterback next year, he needs to be gone by the deadline, because it would make no sense. We got a late comment in from T Live. T Live was good. He said he picked the Jags, and he said even without CMC and Debo, we see how Brock was playing on Sunday.
I'm still going, bro. It's the Minnesota Vikings, bro. Kirk looks amazing. Until the fourth quarter with 1 minute and 30 seconds left, untimely turnover. every single time. I hate it for you, but like, bro, I'm not picking the Vikings without Justin Jefferson. No.
Pop says down goes Purdy this week. I will say, Devontae, if the Vikings can get a lead, I think the Niners are going to lose. But my problem is, I think
they can't
the
keep
Niners,
them. They can't ever keep the lead. That's the problem with the Vikings. They can't ever keep the lead.
We're going to see about Purdy, though. But, yo, that's all we got for this week's show. Devontae, as always, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me at Devontae Forever on everything. If you like the Steelers, come holler at your boy. Wrestling podcast is coming soon. Jay, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll catch y'all next week. We out. Peace.